work with congressional members to save jobs and repurpose former Mylan plant in Morgantown.
Senator from Marion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent that the committee reference be dispensed with, the resolution be taken up for its immediate consideration and put upon its adoption.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. Clerk will read the clerk will read the resolution.
Senate Resolution 22, urging the governor to work with congressional members to save jobs and repurpose former Mylan plant in Morgantown.
The question is on adoption of the resolution. Is there discussion? Senator from Marion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm back in sync now. I want to begin by thanking you for working with me and allowing me to run this resolution today. Last year, December 11th, 2020, Mr. President, was a very sad day for North Central West Virginia. It was on that day that the Mylan Pharmaceutical plant, now owned by Viatris, announced that they were closing. Announced that they were closing on July 31st of this year. A company that was founded in White Sulphur Springs in an abandoned skating ring in the early 1960s and found its way to Morgantown and created over 1,500, Mr. President, 1,500 good-paying jobs with benefits. The union workers there made anywhere from $60,000 to $70,000 a year, and the salary folks anywhere from $90,000 to $100,000 on average. But more importantly than 1,500 jobs, Mr. President, is 1,500 families. 1,500 families that don't know what the future is going to hold for them. Christmas of 2020 for those families was very bleak. I don't know how many people in this chamber have ever been in that situation. I certainly have. There's nothing more devastating than when you show up for work one day and you're told that your job is not going to be there. And you got to go home and you got to look at your family. You got to look at your kids and your grandkids, and you got to think, how am I going to send these kids to college? How am I going to pay the bills? It's a tough situation, Mr. President. Not only for the economy of North Central West Virginia, but it's a tough situation for 1,500 West Virginia families. Workers at this facility, in my opinion, Mr. President, are some of the best in the world. They've been producing life-saving drugs for over a half a century, and they've been doing it well. And these workers can adapt to just about anything. And right now, they could step up to the plate if they were allowed. We're in a global pandemic. And what this resolution does, Mr. President, is ask our governor to get with our congressional delegation and have a good sit down with the President of the United States and talk about invoking the Defense Production Act at Mylan Pharmaceuticals. We're in need of vaccines, not only in this country, but all across the world. Syringes, PPE, you name it. We need a lot of things to get this pandemic behind us. And I know in my heart, Mr. President, I know in my heart that these workers at this facility can step up to the plate, they can handle it, and they can help put this pandemic behind the world, and we can get it done with these folks right here in West Virginia. Mr. President, I urge adoption of the resolution.
Is there further discussion? Senator from Monongalia.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just briefly to echo the sentiments of the junior senator, the 13th, as well as just to point out the history, the long history that Mylan Pharmaceutical has here in the state of West Virginia. The company is 61 years old, I believe, this year, or maybe 62. And they started in the back of a car, in the trunk of a car, selling generic drugs wherever they could. And they've grown into an institution in Morgantown over the years that, quite honestly, grew Morgantown. Between healthcare and Mylan Pharmaceutical, they changed the landscape of Morgantown, West Virginia for what I will say the future of the state of West Virginia. They're a unique company. They've made several people in my area millionaires. There's no question about that. And their philanthropic abilities to give back to the community is seen everywhere you go. And it's unfortunate that this is the demise of a homegrown company. right here in West Virginia. Now, this is just one facility that the gentleman's amendment addresses, or resolution addresses. There were 2 other facilities there in Morgantown. But the labor, the packaging, the processing is right there on Van Voorst, I believe it's Van Voorst. And it's unfortunate that this is how we're going to shut the doors down, with 1,500 people losing their jobs. And my colleague from the 13th did an eloquent job of explaining that difficult situation that presents for those families here in the new year. I totally support this resolution. But for a lot of reasons, this is kind of a reflection of what we're seeing in other areas, the coal industry and other areas like this, to some degree, even the gas sector. But this is a homegrown company that we're more or less saying goodbye to. The name will change. I believe July 1st is the official date for the name change. And that piece of real estate is going to sit empty. And it's a large piece of real estate. It's a manufacturing facility. I hate to see it go. I do urge Congress and our members of Congress to step up and work together on trying to get somebody in there, or at the very least, get this company to come back in and put this facility back into use and for some purpose or other. But again, I fully support this resolution. And I ask also, Mr. President, that the comments by the gentleman, the junior senator from the 13th, printed in the appendix of the journal. Thank you.
Is there further discussion? Senator from Greenbrier.
Thank you, Mr. President. Unanimous consent that the remarks from the senior senator from the 13th, in addition to the junior senator, be included in the appendix of the journal.
Is there objection? Chair hears none. So ordered. Further discussion? If not, the question before the Senate is adoption of the resolution. Roll call has been demanded. Is demand sustained? The demand is sustained. Question is on passage of the resolution. And shall the resolution pass? All those in favor will vote yea. Those opposed will vote nay. The clerk shall prepare the machine. Has every member voted? Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will close the machine and ascertain the results on this question. 33 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent, not voting. More than a majority of those present having voted in the affirmative, I declare the resolution passed. Bills on third reading.